Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So in this class, we will cover the current affairs of last week. And the tomorrow test will be from 14 to 19. 14 to 18 August. 14 to 18 August. इसमें से 15 अगस्त को गैजेट नहीं आया है, तो we can say only the 4 days you people have to read from. Last test किसने दिया था? Last set online. कितना मार्क्स आया on an average? 20, 32. आपका 18 आपने दिया तो 34. Okay. So in this class, I will focus primarily on the prelims part, how the topic can be used in the prelims, how the question can be framed in those topics on the basis of that. In some topics, I will ask the question first. I will show you the news. I will ask a question. You people will reply the question on the basis of the option given in the question. So you have people have idea if there's a news in the paper, so how they are framing the question and how we can focus on that news specifically. So in this class, we will cover almost 8 to 10 topics, like new features for the UPI. Already UPSC had asked 3 questions on the UPI in 2017 and 2018. There are 2 questions in 2017 and 1 question in 2018. There are the recent some changes in the UPI. So that's why we are covering the UPI here. Next is about the Belem declaration. By the name of this declaration, किससे relate लगता है कि we can relate this declaration to what? Exactly, what is the Belem declaration? Yes, it related to Amazon forest protection. And in the exam, the question will be Belem declaration was recently mentioned in the news. It was organized by which of the following organization? They will give the name of the 4 organization. Then you need to be selected. Next is the Jay Talwar. It's an exercise between the India and UAE. So we need to be identify any other exercise between India and UAE. Next is the deflation. China is undergoing deflation. So we need to be understand what is the difference between deflation, disinflation, and what is the inflation. Next is the new soil health card scheme. Initially, the soil health card scheme was started by Government of India in 2014-15. But recently, there are changes in the soil health card scheme. So we will cover what are the new changes under the soil health card scheme. Next is the aromatic rice. Next, PM Usha scheme and the red rice. These are the 8-9 topics. And today I'm also going to cover the 2 case studies. These case studies has a higher relevance in your mains examination. Whenever you're writing about the questions in your paper, even it related to the environment, even it's related to the disaster management or geography, polity, economy. If we want good marks, more than 50-60%, so we need to be add some data. We need to add some examples. And we need to be add the case study, means the work on the ground level. Work on the ground level. If we are adding the case study in our answer, the answer will be enriched with the content and the examiner will give you the 1 mark extra than the others. So there are the 2 case studies specifically, the China Sponge City concept and the vegetated canopies in Spain. So the first you can use in the disaster management question. Second, you can use in the environment questions. So we will discuss these case studies as well. So for the exam perspective, the relevance of the newspaper, initially in the prior classes, we discussed clearly with the mains perspective, how we can use the content of the newspaper in the mains examination. In today's class, we are discussing how we can use the content as perspective of the prelims examination as well as the mains examinations. So in this context, I will show you some of the data related to it that you can use easily. तो सबसे पहले हम स्टार्ट करते हैं UPI. Anybody can tell me the definition of the UPI? Everybody is using it on paying on the pan shop, cigarette shop, tea shop. So what's exactly the definition of UPI? Always keep in mind, the UPSC will ask those questions specifically related to technology, those we are using in our day-to-day life. Like they ask the question on the VoLTE, they ask the question on the LTE, virtual reality, augmented reality. That's we are using in day-to-day life. When we are buying the mobile phone, we are checking the screen. This is the LED or OLED. They ask the question on the LED, OLED. So similarly, in 2017, they asked the question on the UPI, the BHIM app. And now there are the major changes in the BHIM app, major changes in the UPI. So we need to study what exactly those changes. So anybody can tell me what is the UPI? That can also be through the IMPS, that can also be through the RTGS. Somehow. In the UPI specifically, this is a single platform which connect multiple banks and the multiple customer without using multiple interfaces. It directly connect the merchant, it directly connect the customer, and it directly connect the payee beneficiary accounts and the payment beneficiary accounts. So through a single interface, we are connecting the multiple stakeholders by using the established infrastructure of the banks. And the UPI was started in the India by the National Payment Corporation of India in 2016. जैसे ही demonetization हुआ था, they start using the UPI, जिसकी वजह से there is an increase in the number of the payments. So when there is a question related to the digitalization, financial inclusion, so which kind of the data we can use? This data of the May month of the UPI, almost 9.4 billion transaction in a single month. These transactions are more than if we are combining many countries together. 9.4 billion transaction in a single month by the UPI platform. So this number you can directly quote into your introduction itself when there is a question about the financial inclusion. UPI recorded 9.4 billion transaction worth 14 lakh crore in May 2023. If I'm combining the GDP of the multiple country, so that's value become the 14 lakh crore. And in India, this is the transaction only for a single month and only through a single platform, that is the UPI. So if you are addressing your question by these kind of the introduction, then the examiner have a good idea that you have a complete clear knowledge about the UPI. And this is considered as, this is a game changer for this decade. If we can see the game changer in between 2010 to 2020, this is the one research, this is the one technology by the government of India at the world level. It is a game changer for the financial inclusion. जिसको आप बता सकते हैं कि 2010 to 2020 in a single decade, this was the largest game changer in the world. In almost the 20 countries in world signed for using the UPI with India. More than 20 countries signed. Initially, what was happened? We are using the MasterCard, we were using the Visa card, we were using the multiple card system, even some Maestro card. But now we are moved toward the RuPay card. We are moving toward the UPI transactions. Means the India is building their own banking financial system. We are not dependent on the other economy for this transaction level. So if we see the movement towards RuPay card instead of the Visa and the Maestro card and the MasterCard is the game changer now. Now we can link the RuPay credit card with the UPI also. whereas we cannot link the card of the Visa and the MasterCard with the UPI. That's to promote the UPI card, the RuPay card on above the Visa and the MasterCard. So these kind of the information you need to be mentioned. The UPSC required the real-time example. Real-time on ground level. When you people will join the service, you will do the work on the ground. So they are asking you to present that condition in the exam. Write those examples, the data, and the case study on a real-time basis. Okay. So let's start with the UPI. This was the introduction. So this is a definition of the UPI. The Unified Payment Interface is a system that powers multiple bank accounts into a single mobile application. When you are using a Paytm or the phone pay, you can link the multiple accounts, like 4 accounts, 5 accounts, 6 accounts, as many you have, of any participating banks, merging several banking features and the merchant payments into one hood. Means this providing a single platform for the users, for the merchants, for the banking system. And this is one of the reasons the successfulness of UPI in the country. आपको अब ये नहीं देखना कि मुझे इसका अकाउंट डिटेल डालना है, आपको जाके क्यूआर कोड को स्कैन करना है एंड यू कैन डायरेक्टली मेक द पेमेंट्स. इनिशियली क्या होता था, पहले आप अकाउंट डिटेल डालो, बेनिफिशियरी सेव करो, दैट विल टेक 24 आवर्स, उसके बाद आप ऑनलाइन पेमेंट करेंगे. अभी विद इन अ फ्यू सेकंड्स यू कैन ट्रांसफर द मनी. दैट्स द बेनिफिट ऑफ द यूपीआई. So this is the definition. If there is a question related to the UPI in the mains, that's a less chance, because the major question will be toward the financial inclusion, where you can mention about the UPI. So this is the important for the prelims perspective. Who is the participants? Participants in the UPI. Who are the stakeholders in the UPI? Payers, payment service provider. Here PSP means payment service provider. Payment service provider. Payers PSP means we are paying. Pay PSP. Pay means the merchant whom we are paying, the payment service provider. This is the pay payment service provider. This is the payers payment service provider. Remitter bank. Then the beneficiary bank. National Payment Corporation of India. Bank account holders and the merchants. These are the 7 participants in the UPI. So they can give you about the details, the 4 options they will give, how many are the participants in the UPI transactions. So these are the 7, the payers, PSP, payee PSP, remitter banks, beneficiary bank, National Payment Corporation of India, bank account holders and the merchants. So these all are present on a single mobile app, on a single platform. जो इतना सिंपल हमें लगता है कि ट्रांजैक्शन हो गया, पेटीएम पे 10 रुपए प्राप्त हुए, that's like these 7 are involved there, and it's having a huge infrastructure behind it. And the one good thing why the payments are picking up, because they are using the existing infrastructure. इसके लिए ऐसा कोई नया इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यूज करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी बैंकिंग सिस्टम में, बिकॉज वी ऑलरेडी हैड एस्टेब्लिश इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, उसको एज ए टेक्नोलॉजी हमने इंप्रूवमेंट किया. This is the another reason why there is an increased use of the UPI in India. Now, जब भी हम कुछ भी चीज यूज करते हैं, हमें बेनिफिट होगा, हम तभी यूज करेंगे. If I'm going to use the UPI instead of my card, means I have some benefits. Even it's the ease of doing it, even I'm getting the cashback, even I'm getting the voucher. Initially, जब हम move हो रहे थे toward the UPI, when we are making transactions through the Google Pay, we are getting the cashback of the 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 500, even sometimes the 600, 700, 800 rupee also. I also get the 650 on the payment of 50. So that's the motivation toward moving toward the UPI. And when the customer is getting the motivation moving toward the UPI, means that will lead to the exponential increase in the UPI transaction. Even in the nowadays, pay PSP means when you are paying to the merchant, it's a payment service provider. Like the Paytm is the payment service provider for the merchant, and the phone pay is the payment service provider for the customer. So these both will be present on the app. So there should be a motivation toward moving toward anything. Like आप लोग प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं यूपीएससी के लिए, कुछ तो मोटिवेशन होगा कि आईएएस बनना है, कुछ पावर होंगे, कुछ पर्क्स होंगे, कुछ बेनिफिट्स होगा, कुछ स्टेटस होगा. These are the motivation behind becoming an IAS. And when you become an IAS or the IPS or IRS, your family will be the secure कि हाँ मेरा बेटा या बेटी IAS है. So that's the motivation in you कि yes, कंट्री के लिए काम करना is a 5%, लोग 95% जाते हैं पावर के लिए. This is a clear funda. तो वो चीज मोटिवेशन हमारे अंदर, even for the serving the nation, even for the getting the power, even for making money also. ठीक है? So that's the main thing for the merchant. That also same for the customer also. In the case of merchant, when we are using the card, when we are using the debit card, credit card, they are charging the 2% of MDR, merchant discount rate. Means when we are paying the payment of 2,000 rupee, the merchant should pay 40 rupees to the bank. Instead of the 2,000, he will get the 1,960 rupee only. After the UPI, this person is getting complete 2,000 rupee. So the adoption become very easy. He is getting the 40 rupee extra. So he is selling for the 2,000 and getting in 2,000. And initially he was getting only 1,960. In some cases, when the transaction is above 50,000, they start charging itself to customer कि आपको 2% extra देना होगा. You need to pay the 2% extra when we are going to buy the mobile phone in 2017-18, or we are going to buy some other things. They said you need to be 2% extra क्योंकि हमें बैंक को देना पड़ता है. That was the merchant discounted, that should pay by the merchant, but they are charging on the customer. This was also the motivation for the merchants. Let's move toward the UPI because it's easy to make money and also get the full money amount. इसलिए सबसे पहले सबने adopt किया UPI को. Similarly for the banks, banks के transaction system में each transaction cost some rupee, कुछ पैसे cost करता है कोई भी transaction होता है banking system पे. When you are making transaction through the cards, when you are making transaction through the other method, NEFT, RTGS, there is some cost for the banking system as well. But through the use of the UPI, that cost decreased drastically. For RBI, printing of money कम हो गया क्योंकि we are not using the cash currency, we are using the digital currency. That is also increased. That's why the motivation for the banking system, motivation for the merchant, and the motivation for the customer. When these three connects together, that's the reason for the exponential increase in the UPI. तो किसी भी प्रोडक्ट को सक्सेसफुल बनाने के लिए we need to be connect all the stakeholders together. Next is there is a various product of the National Payment Corporation of India. Even it's the NASH mandate, National Automatic Clearing House. Anybody tell me about what is the NASH? NACH. कभी EMI पे कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदा है? Whenever you are buying a product on the EMI, there is a auto debit system from your account. Auto debit system ki automatically on the 7th of this month your payment will be deducted from your bank account. That is the NASH mandate. You are giving the NASH mandate to the organization, to the merchant, that he will deduct automatic payments from your accounts. So this is a National Automated Clearing House के नाम से ही पता लग रहा है. Automated की automated अपने आप ही बैंक अकाउंट से कट जाएगा. Next is the IMPS. Before the UPI, there was a IMPS, Immediate Payment Services. Aadhaar enabled payment system. Aadhaar enabled payment system comes after the UPI. In this payment system, they are using the fingerprint of the person for the making the payments. Like when you are going to the ATM, in some of the ATMs, you will find there is a biosensors, the fingerprinting sensor. So you can make transaction through that. But now in this case, they are on hold because of the security breaches issue. They're collecting your fingerprinting and they're making automatic transactions. That's why the AEPS on hold now. Next is the Bharat Bill Payment System. You can make the payment of electricity bill, mobile bill, you can recharge your mobile phone. And finally is the RuPay credit card, RuPay debit card. In these all the systems, the UPI is the largest payment system of the NPCI. जितने भी उन्होंने पेमेंट सिस्टम या पेमेंट गेटवे रिलीज करे हैं, the largest is the UPI, United Payment Interface. Okay. Next is the recent developments. क्या क्या चेंज हुए हैं UPI सिस्टम में. Whenever we are making the payments, they are charging no cost to the customer, no cost to the merchant. But now they start charging to on the basis of the prepaid payment instruments. Prepaid payment instruments. What is a prepaid payment instruments? PPI. You are buying the vouchers of Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, PhonePe wallet, Paytm wallet, and any other kind of the prepaid instruments. Means you will present that instrument to the merchant. He will give the some amount of like जितना भी उसका amount होगा उसके equally he will give you the some things. That is the payment instruments. जितना आपने उसको दिया, means you are giving a 2000 voucher to the Myntra, he will give you the cloth of 2000. That's the prepaid payment instruments. आप जहां से भी voucher खरीद रहे हैं, if you're buying those vouchers through the UPI, they will charge approximately 1% of the transaction. 1% of the transaction above 2000. 2000 tak, this is the free of cost, but after 2000 they will charge. They will charge on the platform which are making these prepaid instruments. Take an example. If we are buying these PPI from the PhonePe, तो वो PhonePe की responsibility है कि that will pay 1.1% to the bank. It's not the responsibility of the customer. Maybe in future the PhonePe will charge from the customer, but nowadays it's the responsibility of the PhonePe or the Paytm. They will give this charge to the bank, and it will equally shared between the bank involved in the transaction. PhonePe or banks में equally share होगा ये. Maybe they will charge from the customer, maybe they will not charge from the customer. Initially क्या होता था, when we are recharging a mobile from the Paytm, they were charging 0 platform fee. But nowadays, if you are going to charge your mobile phone by the Paytm, they are charging a platform fee of 2 rupee, 3 rupee, 4 rupee on the basis of the recharge amount. That's the same thing. But nowadays, they are not charging from the customer, but they are charging from the merchant itself. Next is that they are introducing a UPI auto-pay feature. Means you are buying something from the UPI and then you can repay through the auto-pay. That's like a NASH mandate, NACH we discuss, but up to a limit of 5,000. 5,000 का recurring payment automatic हो सकता है आपके account से through the UPI, but not more than that. That's a limit given here, the 5,000 rupee. And the UPI, the NPCI, is contacted with more than the 20 countries which are going to adopt the UPI system. Out of those, the Singapore, UAE, Bhutan, and Japan already adopted for the UPI. So this you can use in the international relation diplomacy. आपको connect करना आना चाहिए. You need to be connect. How we can connect a topic with the multiple dimension of the syllabus. This is the dimension of the GS3, but you can use that in the GS2 because it will help to increase the relation between the India and the multiple country and the level of India at an international level. We can use this as a diplomacy partners. हाँ. देखो क्या होता है, आपने 3000 का कोई भी गिफ्ट कार्ड खरीदा. You are buying any gift card of 3000 rupee. On these 3000 rupee, they will charge 1.1%. 1.1% means 33 rupee they will charge. They will means the bank will charge 33 rupee. From the merchant, not the customer right now. From the merchant. मान लो आपने मिंत्रा का PPI खरीदा है. They will charge 33 rupee to Myntra. But it is now depend on the platform. They are charging the same to customer or they are bearing on their own. कि वो कस्टमर को चार्ज कर रहे हैं या फिर खुद से पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, या दे आर डीलिंग विद द मिंत्रा, कितना चार्ज आएगा, हाफ ऑफ हम डिवाइड कर लेते हैं. दैट डिपेंड ऑन देयर टर्म एंड कंडीशन, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द बैंकिंग सिस्टम, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द मिंत्रा. But according to the NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, that should divide equally in between the bank and in between the service provider. Means ये 33 रुपी फोन पे में 16 जाएगा और बैंक को 16 जाएगा. बट उसके आगे टर्म एंड कंडीशन डिपेंड कि फोन पे ने मिंत्रा से कैसे टाई अप किया है, किस कंडीशन पर टाई अप किया है, दैट विल डिपेंड ऑन दोज कंडीशन. बट हमें बस इतना पता होना चाहिए कि इट्स divide between the service provider and the bank, and it will charge on the merchant itself. Okay. Now there are some of the limit introduced by the National Payment Corporation of India. You can make a transaction of 1 lakh in a day through the UPI. आप 1 लाख से ज्यादा ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं कर सकते हैं in a day, and there is a limit of 20 transaction. In 24 hours, you can make 20 transaction. You can make 20 transaction. And that transaction amount should not be above 1 lakh. 1 लाख से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. Even you can send this in a single payment, or you can send in the multiple payments. That should not be more than the 1 lakh. इसका ये मीन नहीं है कि every bank will set up this 1 lakh amount. Banks have their discretionary power. They can make this amount to 25,000. They can make this amount to 50,000. It's vary from banks to banks. Like in some of the case, the Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda have a limit of 25,000 and the 50,000 respectively, whereas the State Bank of India has a limit of 1 lakh. So it depends from bank to bank, but according to the National Payment Corporation of India, you cannot send more than 1 lakh in a single day. And the maximum limits are given for the 20 transactions. This is the one case when we are sending from peer to peer. Peer to peer means I am sending money to you and you are sending money to me. That's a peer to peer. In that case, you cannot exceed more than 1 lakh. But there is a second condition also given. In the case of capital market, in the case of capital market, in the case of insurance, you can make a transaction up to 2 lakh rupee in a single day. कैपिटल मार्केट के केस में, इंश्योरेंस के केस में, यू कैन मेक अ ट्रांजेक्शन अप टू 2 लाख रुपी इन अ सिंगल डे. एंड इन द थर्ड केस, जब आप किसी कंपनी के आईपीओ खरीद रहे हैं और ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द एप्लीकेशन सपोर्टेड बाय द ब्लॉक्ड अमाउंट, मान लो कि यू आर बाइंग अ फॉर्च्यूनर ऑफ 25 लाख एंड देयर इज अ ब्लॉक्ड अमाउंट ऑफ द 5 लाख पर मंथ. दैट ब्लॉक्ड अमाउंट हैव अ लिमिट ऑफ 5 लाख. It may be in the case of the share market, and it may be in the case of the term and condition mentioned by the NPCI. So if there is a statement, you cannot transfer money more than 1 lakh in a single transaction in each condition, that statement will be wrong, because you can transfer maximum 5 lakh and 1 lakh within peer to peer. Okay. Sir, in Japan will phone pay work नहीं करेगा. वहां पे they are tying up their local agency. जैसे यहाँ पे फोन पे Paytm है, similarly there are some other agency, some other financial agency, those are there, they are tying up with the NPCI and they can use those application there. Okay. Now next, limits. We already discussed about the limits. What are the limits given by the banks? And now the few changes. These are the new changes by the NPCI. Now we can make the payment through artificial intelligence. We can chat with the bot given by the NPCI and that can make the payment for you. This is a new feature, the conversational payments with the artificial intelligence. So there can be a question. How you can make the, what are the payment method through which you can make the payment through an merchant? Through the using the artificial intelligence, through offline methods, or through the RuPay card, credit card. So these all three can be used for the payments through the UPI. आप offline without internet भी pay कर सकते हैं. Without internet you can also pay. You can also pay through the artificial intelligence and you can also pay through the RuPay credit card. So this is the new tech introduced by the NPCI. Second, transaction limits increase for the small value payments. Small value payment that we are doing offline without internet, that amount is increased to 500 rupee. The amount is increased to 500 rupee. किसी ने किया है ऑफलाइन पेमेंट विद यूपीआई? हाँ, भीम से हो जाता है. इवन यू कैन थ्रू अ डायलर ऑल्सो. *99#, you can start dialing and it will show the option make payment to merchant, that you can use through payment through the offline methods, and now they are increasing the limit up to 500 rupees. Third new change is the NFC, near field communication. जब हम कार्ड से पेमेंट करते हैं तो we can tap the card on the machine and the payment are deducted from our card. That is the NFC, near field communication. Now the RBI and the NPCI is discussing on that. Can we introduce the NFC in the UPI itself? अभी तक ये finalize नहीं हुआ है, but in the few months or in a few weeks they are going to finalize NFC in the UPI also. So when you are going to examination, please recheck it. Is it finalized or not? Next is the expansion of the UPI Lite. Whenever you are making the payments through the payment app, now you are getting an option of create an ID for the UPI Lite. Even you are going through the Paytm, PhonePe or the Bheem, तो वहां पे option आता है UPI Lite. This UPI Lite is not using the core banking infrastructure, जो एक normal UPI में use होता है. It is using the minimum infrastructure and making the payment very fast. जब आप 7 स्टेक होल्डर्स की जगह सिंगल स्टेक होल्डर्स को यूज करोगे तो ये पेमेंट स्पीड विल बी फास्ट. Similarly, in this case, they are not using the core banking system and it making the payment fast, and they are increasing the limit for it. And already the 10 million transaction already done through the UPI Lite. जैसे आप देखोगे तो कोई मेजर एप्स होती हैं तो अमेजन लाइट ऐप है, फ्लिपकार्ट लाइट है, पेटीएम लाइट. लाइट मींस दे आर slowly very less using their infrastructure, बहुत कम टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करते हो, they are making the payment fast. That's the UPI Lite mean. डिजिटल पब्लिक टेक प्लेटफॉर्म जैसे हम लोगों ने बनाया, there is a platform of the government for shopping, ONDC. ONDC is a platform and the UPI is a platform of the government of India, through which we can connect with in the UPI, we can make the payment to any merchant. And in this ONDC, open network for the digital commerce, we can buy anything, even it's cloth, even it's a food. Multiple merchant will be present. अभी आप Zomato, Swiggy से जो भी order करते हो, you can add only the order from a single merchant. मान लो आप ग्रोवर मिठाई वाला से कुछ order कर रहे हो, you can add only from the ग्रोवर मिठाई वाला. But in the case of the ONDC, you can add the product from the multiple merchant in a single cart. तो वहां पे आपको multiple time अपनी information को save नहीं करना होता. There is no need to create the multiple accounts. At a single time, you can buy the product from the Flipkart, Amazon or the Myntra on this ONDC in a single cart. But till now, only the Amazon is registered for the ONDC. Flipkart and Myntra are not registered. When they are registered, you can buy on a single platform. Similarly, this level, they are making a digital public tech platform, जहां पे sub apps will be present on a single platform. You can make payment through any of the app, and they will offer you the multiple financial product as well. Like you can take the credit cards, you can any of the products you can take for the financial products, and it make the credit frictionless. Like हमें तो credit की जरूरत नहीं होती, but in the case of the merchant, they need some credit. When they are registering on this platform, their transaction level which show the history, their financial wealth वो बैंक को बता देगा कि this is the financial wealth of this merchant, so they can easily offer the credit to the merchant. तो उसके केस में वो easy हो जाएगा. You can directly from the app you can take the credit. So that platform they are making the digital public tech platform. There is a payment gateway. It's a payment gateway. It's not a platform. It's a payment gateway. Platform means you will get every financial service on a single platform. जितने भी financial service available है इंडिया में, you can get on a single platform. So they are start making this kind of the platform also. So let's check बट हाँ फाइनली द नेशनल पेमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया है क्या, जिसने ये सब कुछ बनाया है. लेट्स नो अबाउट दैट ऑल्सो. It's an umbrella organization for the payment settlement in India. It is registered under the Payment and Settlement Act of 2007. And it's an initiative of RBI and the IBA. It's an initiative of RBI and Indian Bank Association. It is a not-for-profit company and registered under Companies Act of 1956. And there are 10 core promoter banks, but all other banks are also the part of NPCI. इंडियन बैंक्स एसोसिएशन में सब जितने मेजर बैंक्स हैं, जितने शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक है, सबके हेड्स होते हैं आईबीए में. दैट कीप चेंजिंग. दोनों का, क्योंकि दीज इंडियन बैंक एसोसिएशन हैविंग अ टेक विद देम लाइक एक्सिस बैंक, आईसीआईसीआई बैंक, एचडीएफसी बैंक. ये फास्ट क्यों है? Because the technology they are using is very fast. So in the IBA with the RBI, they are sitting together and make NPCI. तो NPCI का फास्ट होने का रीजन दोनों का कोऑर्डिनेशन भी है. Okay, now let's see the question asked by the UPSC. Please try to give the answer. How Paytm make profit? Now they start charging for the recharge. When you are opening the Paytm, you will find the various ad of the buy the SBI credit card, ये खरीद लो, वो खरीद लो, बहुत सारे कूपन्स मिलते हैं जब आप पेमेंट करते हो, तो वहां वो पेमेंट्स प्रॉफिट के लिए होते हैं. Near field communication means through the technology you can make the payments without swiping your card or without using the physical infrastructure. The first statement is here. Bhim app allow the user to transfer money to anyone with the UPI enabled bank account. ये तो सही है. We can make the payment to anyone. While a chip in debit card has a 4-factor of authentication, the Bhim app has only the 2-factor of authentication. This is correct or not? This is wrong. The Bhim app is having a 3-factor authentication. कोई बताएगा कब कब होता है authentication? That is for the chip debit card. But भीम में जब हम उसके इंस्टॉल करते हैं आपको उस टाइम पे रिक्वायरमेंट होता है. द फर्स्ट ऑथेंटिकेशन व्हेन यू आर इंस्टॉलिंग द भीम, दे आर आस्किंग यू द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट योर मोबाइल नंबर, दैट इज रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर विद द बैंक. द फर्स्ट फैक्टर. सेकंड फैक्टर, व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग द पेमेंट्स, they will ask the UPI pin from you. The third factor, when you're opening the app, they're asking the password for the app. There's 3-factor authentication in the Bhim. Okay, so that's a simple thing we are using on day-to-day basis. That's why the UPSC asked the question in 2018, and the answer will be 1 here, 1 only. हाँ क्या? हाँ, with the UPI enabled bank account. अभी उस टाइम पे दिस वाज द क्वेश्चन इन 2018 ना, 2018 के टाइम पे तो यूपीआई एनेबल बैंक अकाउंट, उस टाइम पे सर्विसेज नहीं थी कि आप मोबाइल फोन नंबर पे भेज सकते हैं या फिर आप किसी भी बैंक अकाउंट में भेज सकते हैं. दैट द सर्विस एक्टिवेटेड इन 2020. ठीक है, तो आप प्रेजेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देख रहे हैं, बट दिस इज अ पीवाईक्यू. हाँ, अभी तो किसी में भी आ जाएगा ना, एनीवन विद द, लेकिन गलत नहीं होगा, स्टेटमेंट अभी भी सही होगा, क्योंकि विद द यूपीआई एनेबल्ड बैंक अकाउंट. इसने ये नहीं बोला कि आप उनको दूसरों को नहीं भेज सकते. द स्टेटमेंट इज ओनली सेइंग यू कैन सेंड टू द यूपीआई एनेबल्ड बैंक अकाउंट, बट दे आर नॉट डिक्लाइनिंग कि आप दूसरों को नहीं भेज सकते. ठीक है, दिस वाज आस्क्ड इन द 2017. In foreign countries, different apps are there for which the NPCI is tying up, so they can use the UPI payments. We are sharing the technology. Which of the following is the most likely consequence of implementing the unified payment interface? Mobile wallet will not be necessary for online payments. Digital currency will totally replace. FDI inflow will drastically increase. Direct transfer of subsidy to poor people will become very effective. 1. Answer will be 1. Okay. Next topic is the Paytm declaration. This is important for prelims. In environment, if you see the question, the weightage of environment is the 17-18 question on an average in UPSC prelims. And the question they're asking on specifically related to the climate change organization, biodiversity, sustainable developments, conference of party. तो इस तरीके के क्वेश्चन रहते हैं. And they're asking the question on the basis of these declaration. What are the outcome of these declaration? Who is handling these declaration? क्या target set किया गया है? क्या achievements है? क्या financial mechanism है? They're also asking about the organization as well. So for the prelims perspective, this is very important. Let's see the question first, then we will discuss about the declaration. Paytm declaration was recently mentioned in the news. It is an initiative of United Nations Environment Program, United Nations Fund for Climate Change, Food and Agriculture Organization, Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization. This is confusing कि सब environment का ही है. So the same confusion in the examination when we are sitting for the prelims examination. He कौन करता? This is done by the ACTO, Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization. Is the implementing agency for the Paytm declaration. यही important है Paytm declaration में करता कौन है. दूसरा, in which region? In the specifically in the Southern American country जहाँ पे Amazon forest है. Specifically those countries are involved in it. It works on the sustainable developments, protection of the biodiversity, rights of the individual people there. जो वहाँ के inhabitants हैं उनको क्या क्या rights होने चाहिए specifically related to the sustainable developments. So let's see. So it's a declaration has been released during the Amazon Summit organized by the Amazon Cooperation Treaty ACTO. Declaration highlight the critical aspects of biodiversity conservation and the indigenous engagement in the Amazon region. Specifically, this is attached only to the Amazon region. And it prevents the deforestation, protect the rich biodiversity, and ensure the well-being of indigenous community. Those who are dependent on the forest, means a tribal. We can say in the tribal. These are three ideas: deforestation, protect biodiversity, and the well-being of the indigenous community. कोई भी environment related treaty है या फिर declaration है, mainly यही criteria रहता है. Protecting the biodiversity, protecting the deforestation को prevent करना है, और well-being of the communities. And also we can add the sustainable developments. Next, what are the key features? Sustainable use of biodiversity resources, full and effective participation of the indigenous people. This was noticed that in the Amazon forest area or those countries, they are ignoring the participation of the indigenous people there. Without the help of the local community, we cannot protect the forest. Even the protest, we cannot implement any policy. अगर स्वच्छ भारत अभियान में सब कोई participate नहीं करता, तो it's not become a successful नहीं होना था. The same case for the protection of the environment. Indigenous people are under the constant threats and stress importance for the securing their land rights. Like in the India, there is a Forest Right Act of 2006 for protecting the rights to the tribals in those areas. Similarly, they identify they are not giving the rights to the local people or specifically to the land rights, So this is the identification under this declaration. Next is the Brazil Amazon Fund. Like the Green Climate Fund, there they announced the Amazon Fund. financial requirement for the resource mobilization under the global biodiversity framework. So these are the important 4-5 points. इससे ज्यादा आपको याद नहीं करना about this declaration. First, who is the implementing agency, who is the organizing agency, किस area में है, and what is the specific aim and objectives. You need to remember these 4 things only. You need to identify also कि किस topic में क्या किस चीज पे focus करना है. If we're reading in detail about this topic, it's a completely waste of time because we are not going to use this information even in the mains, even in the prelims. For the prelims perspective, you need to require only the organization of the places there. इससे ज्यादा आपको चाहिए नहीं. You need to limit yourself for the particular topic कि इसमें से यही पढ़ना है बस. That you can get through the insight through the previous year questions ki what is the pattern of asking the question by the UPSC in some specific area. Next topic is about the exercise Jayat Talwa. It's a exercise between the India and UAE. Anybody can tell me the other exercise between India and UAE? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि ये न्यूज में तो यही पूछेगा. They can ask the others also. Desert Eagle, yes. Okay, let's see the question first. So then you can understand what's the importance of the topic in the examination. Consider the following defense exercise: Jayat Talwar, Desert Flag, Desert Eagle. How many of the above given exercise were held between India and UAE? This is the new pattern of the UPSC. You cannot eliminate it. You need to know the 100% of the options. So whenever you are looking at the newspaper, or whenever you are reading any of the news from any of the sources, please look into the कि कोई दूसरा perspective तो नहीं है. ठीक है? So all the options are correct here. The answer will be C. There are the 4 exercise. One मैंने mention नहीं की क्योंकि उसमें UAE already लिखा हुआ था. Jayat Talwar, Desert Flag, Desert Eagle, all are the defense exercise with the in UAE and India. In the exercise, you just need to know the country कि किसके साथ. इससे ज्यादा कुछ पूछा ही नहीं गया आज तक. They never asked more than this. In 2017-18, they are asking these kind of the question, but after 18, there is no question on a defense exercise. But maybe there can be a chance they can ask question in the next year. So this is a bilateral exercise between the India and the UAE Navy, and its aim to enhance the interoperability and synergy between the two navy. These are the 2 lines that you need to remember. इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए. But with the extra जो आपको research करना था, what are the other exercise with the UAE? So you can write these exercise. Exercise Desert Flag, India UAE bilateral exercise. This is the name of the 4th exercise. India UAE bilateral exercise and the Desert Eagle. These are the 4 exercises for defense exercise between India and UAE. Okay, let's move to the next. Deflation. China slips into deflation as post-COVID recovery stalls. What is the meaning of deflation? Start decreasing. ठीक है. Anyone else? What is the difference between deflation and disinflation? Okay. ठीक है. Let's see what is the deflation first. There is a cycle for a deflation. When there is a decrease in the demand, demand कम होगा तो price automatic decrease होना शुरू हो जाएगा. Take an example. If there are 10 iPhones and there is no buyers, कोई खरीदने वाला नहीं है, its price है 70,000. कोई खरीदने वाला नहीं है, तो they will automatically decrease this to the 50,000. They will get one buyer at the 50,000, but the 9 pieces अभी भी कोई खरीद नहीं रहा, तो they will decrease the price to 35,000. Now they will find the 4 extra buyers. Next units को बेचने के लिए they will make the price to 25,000 and the all price pieces will be sold. And this is the effect of deflation, decrease in the prices. That decrease in the prices lead to the debt defaults. किसी ने लोन लिया हुआ है, उसके प्रोडक्ट्स बिक ही नहीं रहे हैं, वो बंदा लोन पे ही नहीं कर सकता. That lead to the debt defaults. Also we can say the NPA in the banking language, the non-performing assets. Then the company will find the bankruptcies. This bankruptcy lead to the layoff and the wage reduction. Means they will lay off their employee, like the Baiju. They are laying off all their employees. And this again cycle will repeat. This is the condition going in the China now after the COVID. There is no much demand in the China of the products, even it's the goods or the services. That's demand lead to the decrease in the prices, but the people are not buying. And so they are in this cycle. And in this case, some of the companies are moving out of the China and shifting their base to the other country, events like the Indonesia, events like the India, and the some of the South Asian country. That's the deflation. And on the opposite, disinflation. Take an example. If there is a inflation going on in India, 8%, it is increasing to the 10%, it is increasing to 12%, and it's continuously increasing. But at a time, it is start decreasing, like it's come again to the 12%, again to the 10%. At this point, we can say when it's to the 16%, now it is the 10%, that's the disinflation. Inflation है, लेकिन it's decreased from its initial phase. जो peak level था, उससे decrease हो गया. That's the meaning of disinflation. And in the case of inflation, there is a continuously increase in the prices. This is the example of inflation. This is the example of disinflation. And deflation, we already discussed. What is the deflation? Next topic is the soil health card scheme. सबने सुना है soil health card scheme. What are the component of it? क्या क्या हम मेजर करते हैं specifically when we are testing the soil? ये तो बहुत weak आंसर है. यूपीएससी ऐसे तो नहीं पूछेगा. न्यूट्रिएंट्स में क्या? There are 12 components. They're testing the 12 components. So you need to remember those 12. So let's see the question first, then we will move on to the topic. Consider the following: electrical conductivity, copper, organic carbon, zinc. Soil health card report contain the nutrient status of how many of the nutrients given above? ऐसा क्वेश्चन आएगा. सोच समझ के. इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी, Avika is saying only 2. Charu is saying only 2. Kuldeep is saying C3. क्या होगा? How many are saying C? How many are saying B? How many are saying D? Answer is D. It is measuring all 4, even it's electrical conductivity, it's in copper, it's organic carbon or the zinc. So you need to remember like this. They will frame the question. आप खुद ही confuse हो जाओगे क्या होता है उसमें. But we are reading कि soil health card ये होता है. So what the soil health card is measuring exactly? So we need to be remembered. So you can note down this information. The first is the pH, electrical conductivity, organic carbon and nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, sulfur, zinc, boron, iron, manganese, copper. These are the 12 components the soil health card is measuring. So we need to know the relevance exactly when we are reading any of the topic. तो हमें क्या क्या पता होना चाहिए? Relevance in my syllabus, from which subject is relating, how I can use this information, how the examiner can frame the question. ये पता होना बहुत जरूरी है. How examiner can frame, and there can be the multiple option on a topic. He can frame the question 3 to 4 type. So I need to know how the question can be framed, of what kind of the information examiner can ask. If we are making a question mark on this information, so means we are on track and we are reading of the topic according to the exam perspective. अगर हम जस्ट पढ़ते जा रहे हैं कि सोइल हेल्थ कार्ड है क्या, उसके बारे में क्वेश्चन को हम सोल्व नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, दैट्स नो यूज ऑफ रीडिंग दैट. ओके, टेल मी आफ्टर हाउ मेनी इयर्स अ फील्ड कैन बी रीटेस्टेड. मान लो आज मैंने एक फील्ड को चेक किया इन नजफगढ़ इन 2023. आफ्टर हाउ मेनी इयर्स I can recheck the information of that soil, or the farmer can apply for the soil health card again. 5 year तो गवर्नमेंट का टेन्योर होता है. नहीं, it's 3 years. After the 3 years, the farmer can apply. There can be the continuously recheck in a gap of 3 years. 3 साल के बाद continuously check होता रहेगा. So the soil health card provided all the farmer at an interval of 3 years to enable the farmer to apply recommended doses and realize, improve the sustainable soil health and fertility. हाँ, इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी में जब हम सोइल का मॉइस्चर देखते हैं, तो उसमें आयंस चेक होते हैं, पॉजिटिव आयंस एंड नेगेटिव आयंस. उनका अमाउंट कितना है, सोइल चार्ज कितना ले रही है, दैट विल अफेक्ट द क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन. तो उसको चेक किया जाता है इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी के थ्रू. ठीक है. सो हाउ वी कैन यूज दिस टॉपिक इन द मीन्स. मान लो देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द सोइल हेल्थ कार्ड, रिलेटेड टू द सोइल प्रोडक्टिविटी इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. हाउ वी कैन यूज इट. हाँ, तो कैसे करेंगे, इसमें क्या कॉन्टेक्स्ट दोगे सबसे पहले? किसका, लाइक मैंने बोल दिया कि सोइल हेल्थ कार्ड हमने अप्लाई किया, वी गेट टू नो अबाउट द सोइल प्रोडक्टिविटी. वन वे वी कैन स्टार्ट द इंट्रोडक्शन बाय राइटिंग द सोइल हेल्थ कार्ड में 12 कंपोनेंट मेजर करते हैं, सो वी कैन यूज द फर्टिलाइजर अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट. सेकंड वे, आई हैव अ study of the Ministry of Farmer and Agriculture. According to the latest study, there is a 7% decrease in the usage of urea and 20% increase in the usage of the sulfur after the implementation of soil health card scheme. Which is more beneficial for you? Second, we need to get those information from the website, so you can note down this information here. तो पहले आप वो लिख लें, उसके बाद we will see the topic. This is the case study. Please note down it. Manage Hyderabad is a company there which studied in November 2017. Approximately the 200 villages were taken as a sample, and they found that in the paddy cultivation specifically, they reduced the usage of urea by 9%, reduced the usage of urea by 9%, and increase of potassium by 20%. Which showing a balanced usage of the fertilizers in the field, and it lead to decline in the cost per acre by 4 to 10%, and this will help in increasing the farmer income. जब cost decrease होगा आपके fertilizers का, जब components आप balance में use करेंगे, तो जो products बन के आएगा, जो produce होगा, that will be the enriched in the different kind of the products and having the less use of the cost per acre. So you need to be mentioned these kind of, even you can use this in the introduction, or in the body part you can make a box and can write the case study about it. and these information you can only find from the newspaper. ये आपको किसी बुक में नहीं मिलेगा, ये आपको कोई नोट्स में नहीं लिखवाएगा. When you are reading the newspaper, you need to be focused on that. If you're finding any of the relevant case study, you can immediately note down in your notebooks. So you can write this. So we will discuss the new soil health card scheme. And one important information, from the next Saturday, the class will be at 2:30. So you people can find a gap of 15-20 minutes for the lunch. So from next Saturday, Friday, the class will be at 2:30. Done? हाँ, नहीं ग्रुपिंग नहीं है वो, दे आर 12 एक साथ थे तो वो स्पेसिंग की वजह से आई मेक देम इन द पेयर. ठीक है, so let's see what's new in the scheme. So the soil health card scheme is now the component of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Initially it was an independent scheme, now it's moved to the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. This is an umbrella scheme under which there are more maximum agriculture schemes are under the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Even it's the per drop more crop, even it's the watershed management, even it's about the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Vikas Yojana, या मतलब fertilizer से related कोई भी schemes है, even it's related to the insurance also. Those are come under this umbrella scheme, the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So the soil health card scheme is also now the component of RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So what are the important features? The new features are introduced into the scheme. The number one feature, integration with the geographical information system. Initially it was not integrated, means now we have a online data of the quality of soil. In this area, this type of the soil having the high amount of nitrogen, less amount of potassium. So we have a GIS, geographical information system. So we can track in this area which kind of soil it is. And after the improvement, we can see the graph also. In 2018, in this area, the soil is having a deficiency of nitrogen. In 2020, there is an increase in the efficiency. So we can make the graph as well through the geographical information system by checking the quality of the soil after the 3 years. Next is there is a mobile application also. The mobile application is also launched, which will collect the sample collection regions. दिखाए गए that number of the collection regions will also increase. Initially there was a less villages, less area from where we are testing the soil. Now the number of villages and the area also increase. Automated latitudes and the longitude selection and the QR code generation, means your complete information of the land will be in a QR. You can scan the QR and get the complete information of that area. These are the new technology introduced under the new scheme. And now the next level is the village level soil testing labs. Initially we need to be dependent on the major laboratory, वो कहीं कहीं पे ही present है. But now the government is starting the VLST, village level soil testing laboratory, and anybody can open it. There is a criteria, there should be the age of 17 to 27 years, and even the private organization, even in the village, even so you can also open this village level testing laboratory. There will be a training, specifically training for the soil health card, and now you can open this village level testing laboratory. These are established by the youth, self-help groups, schools, and the agriculture university. तो कोई भी open कर सकता. And entrepreneurs submit applications specifically between the age of 18 to 27 years. Means the promotion of the young ones. We are a demographic dividend जो हमारा है. So you can use this example in the how we are using the demographic dividend. There can be a question in the GS2 or the GS3. India this is the age of the Indian demographic dividend for the next 2 decades. What are the factors you can write about the usage of the demographic dividend? It can be a boon or the bane for the country. जब boon की बात आती है तो you can mention these kind of examples, जहां पे specifically promote किया जा रहा है young ones को, ताकि हम demographic dividends को अच्छे से यूज कर पाए. जो ये dimensions होते हैं ना, if you are going through the vast dimensions, तो your answer will look like a different answer. किसी ने लिखा ही नहीं होगा. जब हम सोचते हैं कि एक बारे में आंसर लिख रहे हैं, आई एम इंक्लूडिंग दिस डायमेंशन की यहाँ पे भी यूज किया जा रहा है, वो आपके रीडिंग कैपेबिलिटी पे डिपेंड करता है कि हाउ यू आर रीडिंग एंड हाउ यू आर लिंकिंग दीज काइंड ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन विद द आंसर. देन ओनली यू कैन राइट अ गुड आंसर. The testing lab will receive a training on the soil sampling testing, generation of the soil health card, and the detail of the mapping at this is a scale given will be conducted using the satellite data, using the land survey of India. So these are the new tech introduced. The first tech, integrating GIS system through the mobile app. You can get the report through the QR, automated latitude system, village level soil testing labs, and anybody can establish these labs. Training in the soil sampling, and through the satellite data we can get the collection of the information. This is the important, the National Productivity Council. National Productivity Council, they keep an eye on the information about the soil of a particular area, but this come under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So there can be confusion कि soil health card Ministry of Agriculture के अंदर आना चाहिए, but the National Productivity Council, which is checking about how this card is performing, how this scheme is performing, specifically related to the soil health card. So the National Productivity Council is checking it. It's a national level organization to promote the productivity culture in India. So kitna productivity hai soil health card schemes ka, like it show in detail about 7% decrease in the urea, 20% increase in the sulfur. That is conducted under the guidance of the National Productivity Council. It is an autonomous, multi-party non-profit organization and under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The National Productivity Council. If they're asking a multiple choice question, they will give a statement from the Productivity Council also. Now let's come to the next topic, which is about this rice, musk bhujji rice. This is a rice from the Kashmir, and recently got the GI tag also. आपको बस इतना ही इंफॉर्मेशन पता होना चाहिए. This is a specific term, belong from which state, and it's having the GI tag or not. This is from the Kashmir. This is recently get the GI tag, and the GI tag कौन देता है? Which organization provided the GI tag for the particular products? Geographical Indication Registry. Geographical Indication Registry. This is the organization which provide the GI tags. Geographical Indication Registry. This is a short, bold, aromatic rice cultivated in the elevated region of the Kashmir Valley. This is the important information for you. Flavor, fragrance, and the appealing sensory quality कोई नहीं पूछेगा एग्जाम में. And the specific area, the Sagam, Panjam, and the Sofshali. These were mentioned in the news. So there can be a question on these areas as well. Sagam, Panjam, and the Sofshali was mentioned in the news recently. Like there was a question related to the nuclear power plants. They give a 3 area. These 3 areas are famous for. Similarly, there can be a question related to district. These are related to. किस state से हैं या किस country से हैं, specifically they can give you. So next topic is about, this is the rice. You can see small grain, but having the fragrance and the aromatic value. Next is about the Rashtriya Uchtar Shiksha Abhiyan, RUSA. But now its name changed to Pradhan Mantri Uchtar Shiksha Abhiyan, PM Usha. Rashtriya Uchtar Shiksha Abhiyan is now the PM Uchtar Shiksha Abhiyan. And in this Abhiyan, there is a funding pattern like a 60% is given by the central government, 40% is given by the state government, and it is a central sponsored scheme. It is a central sponsored scheme, and the 60-40 ratio they are dividing. And in the case of the northeastern state, this is 19-10, जो generally सब schemes में होता है. So there is some information about this Abhiyan, and this is included in the National Education Policy. Initially, they mentioned the RUSA in the National Education Policy, but now it's changed to PM USHA. And it's a centrally sponsored schemes, and specifically, it's focused on the quality education, academic reforms, education governance, and the innovations in the educational sector. So its objective specifically about the focus on the quality of the education. It specifically focus on the inclusion in the higher education. This is specifically important for your mains examination. Whenever they're asking a question related to scheme specific, sometimes you can find in GS3 a question related to scheme specific. You need to be mentioned all these things. Access and inclusion to the higher education, quality teaching and the learning process, accreditation and the non-accreditation institution, information and the computer-based technology, digital infrastructures, and the employability through the multidisciplinary. Means अभी क्या है, BA, B.Ed वालों को job नहीं मिलता है. Even engineers are not getting the job in the country. So through the multidisciplinary, how they can generate the way of the employability. So this organization is also seeking on that. पेपर में तो देख रहा है, बाद में तो पता नहीं. In the key features में multidisciplinary educational research university, like nowadays after the new education policy, now you can take history with the BTech. You can take history with the medical also. So you have a choice now. You can read any of the subject with your core subjects. So it will see the multidisciplinary education and the research university transformation, about the model degree college, grant for strengthening universities, targeting the remote area, left-wing extremism area, aspirational districts, and also providing the aid to the government for the gender inclusion. This is the important information for prelims. There was a question in 2017 about the National Food Security Act. The first statement of the act was the youngest girl of the house or the family will be the head of NFSA, National Food Security under the PDS. जो youngest girl होगी घर की, that will be registered with the PDS. So similarly, the aid to the state government on the basis of gender inclusion, these are provided. Next is about the red rice. किस state से belong करता है? From which state it's belonging? किस state का product है? हाँ? Red rice. ऐसा लिखा है. Red rice is the product of which state? In India, it can be found in the Himachal Pradesh and Assam. But in Himachal Pradesh, the quality is not GI registered. In Assam, the quality is GI registered. In two states, we can find in the Himachal Pradesh and the Assam. The Assam variety is registered with the GI, but the Himachal Pradesh variety is not registered with the GI. It is having some of the nourishment components. Okay, first see the question. This was the question in 2019. Specifically, among the following, which one of the largest exporter of the rice in the world in the last 5 years? Most of the people mark the China. कुछ ने बच्चों ने वियतनाम लगाया था, but answer is the India. India is the highest exporter, largest exporter in the last 5 years. Okay. So this is a simple question. General information से है. But when we start writing, तो हमारे मन में आता है कि चाइना ही सबसे बड़ा होगा. But we need to be look at the data from the economic survey. They're compiling the data of the last 3-4 years. So we need to be note that about that data. India is the highest producer in which of the following products. This is also known as the woven gamosa in Assam. And it's offering the better nutrition and the organic quality. It is red in color due to the presence of anthocyanin. It is red in color due to the presence of anthocyanin. There is also another rice, golden rice. It is enriched in which vitamin? Vitamin A. It is red in color due to the presence of anthocyanin. It is rich in iron, zinc, vitamin A, and antioxidant. This is important, and this is also important. In Assam, it's a GI registered variety. Red color due to the presence of anthocyanin, also enriched in zinc, vitamin A, and iron. Zinc, vitamin A, and iron. So this is the variety of rice, red in color. Next is about the sponge city. What is the concept of sponge city? Now there are two case study. One is the sponge city I will discuss. Second, you will read on your own. Sponge city. क्या concept? What is the concept? Sponge से हमें absorption पता लगता है. They are making the city like the roads are permeable. The water can go in the ground directly. Through in the rivers also. Buildings are even they are using the buildings. They are also having some of the components which are the sustainable development related. They can absorb a rainfall up to the 7 millimeter in a day. But more than that rain will lead to the flood-like situation that happened in the China recently. There is a limit. Up to a limit, they can prevent the flood. They can absorb the water. But after that limit, they are not able to absorb the water. Means the city is set up for the sustainable development, for the conservation of the water. And their roads are making through that products which can absorb the water. Now in India, they are also trying it. In some other state, they are the project is going on for the absorbable road. Let's see the component first. क्या क्या है? So in the big sponge infrastructure, we are focusing on the waterlogging prevention projects. Like in some of the cases, Rajendra Nagar में road तो पूरा पानी से ही भर जाता है. तो इस केस में they are making the road that kind it will absorb the water directly. Water pollution control projects to control the water pollution. River restoration, sponge community, sponge roads, green infrastructure. Means the completely for the sustainable development, for the protection, for the collection of the water, preventing the water logging, and preventing the flood-like situation in the city. Like we see the floods of Chennai, floods in Bengaluru, floods in Mumbai. So these kind of the city started with the China in 2015, but it is not successful in this year because of the heavy rain. They can only tolerate up to the 7 millimeter of the rain. So what is the problem in the urban area? The first problem, the water storage. Second is the water logging. Third is the water pollution. Fourth is the ecological degradation. And the fifth is the city syndrome. जब इन सबको मिला देते हैं, so the kind of disease will develop that's known as flood, urban floods, and that's the city syndrome. And this urban flood will solve, utilize a rainwater as a resource, mitigate urban flooding, improve the water quality, and restore the ecological functions of the urban water. These are specifically city design in the outside area, जहां पे drainage systems को बंद कर दिया गया due to the infrastructure. To adjacent to those cities, they are developing the sponge-like city. So they can provide the water to those cities as well and can create a target for the sustainable development goals and help in achieving the clean water for the city. City syndrome, when we are lacking with the water shortage, water logging, water pollution, ecological degradation, when we are combining together, it's become like a disease. When you're going to your home, your street is flooding with the sewage water. When you're drinking water, your water is not clean. in which environment you are living, that's also not clean, having a pollution of 400 ppm, that all lead to the CT syndrome. So in China, it was started in the 2015, and specifically to optimize the rainwater usage. So sponge का meaning ही वही है, to optimize the collection of the water, to optimize the rainwater usage, and to prevent the city from the flood. So specifically urbanization, flooding, and drought, इन तीनों को protect करने के लिए they start this initiative, the sponge city. So you can use this case study in the urban flooding. When there is a question related to the urban flooding in the GS1 or the GS3, you can mention in the way forward this case study, we can make the sponge city, which can protect the city from the flooding, which can provide the clean water and help in the rainwater harvesting. Even in the case of the water conservation question, you can mention about the sponge cities. Next case study was related to vegetated canopies. आप देख के समझ जाएंगे vegetated canopies. In between the streets, they are making these canopy-like structure, and in these structure they are growing some smaller plants, and they're also giving the water. That water is going in a single direction, and there is a collection pipe here. That excess water goes to a drainage pipe, and they will reuse it again. That will help to maintain the greenery, and it will not taking the extra space. It is providing the shadow to the area and the cooling to the area. And this is starting in the Spain. So you can use this when there's a question on the urban heatland. In 2020, there's a question on the urban heatland. So you can suggest a way forward about the canopy structure. You can write the case study of the Spain. And these all from the newspaper. 3-4 दिन पहले Indian Express में आया है. So you need to keep an eye on how we can use these kind of the information in our examination. Okay. So this is done from my side. Any doubt you people have, so you can ask. So we will meet tomorrow at 11 AM for the test. The test will be from 14 to 18 August. And the test will have the 20 questions. So usko according, and the most of the questions, 7-8 questions you will find from the discussion itself. Okay. And from the next Friday, the class will be at 2:30 instead of 2:15. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will share this slide on the current affair group. You will find all the information. One minute.
There is a someone in other channel of Telegram called
Yes.